Chapter 1, Mishnah 1. As explained in the general introduction, Demai is the produce of an Amma Aretz, someone who is unlearned. Since we cannot be sure that an Amma Aretz separated the required masros, the rabbis required us to separate masros before eating any produce that we get from him. Nevertheless, this is not a biblical requirement, since most Amei Haaretz do tithe their produce. Since the requirement to tithe, i.e. separate masros from Demai, is a rabbinic decree, there are cases where the rabbis were lenient with these laws. This tractate begins with a list of species of produce that are exempt from the laws of Demai, because they are often hefker, ownerless. We now turn to the words of the Mishnah. The following are the lenient species with regards to the laws of Demai. Law of Demai. Wild figs, lotus, sorb apples, white figs, fruits of a hybrid fig tree, wind-blown dates, late-season grapes, and capers. All of these are low-quality plants that are generally assumed to be hefker, either because they grow in the wild or because their owner has no interest in them. Eretz Yisrael proper, that is, the land west of the Jordan River, is divided into two parts, the southern part, known as Judea, and the northern part, Galilee. The species listed above were often hefker and excluded from the laws of Demai, only in Galilee, but were considered important in Judea, and therefore subject to the laws of Demai. The Mishnah now lists species for which the reverse is true. They were hefker in Judea, but were considered important in Galilee. In Judea, the rabbis were lenient with the following foods, since they were not considered important and were therefore often hefker: sumac, Judean vinegar, and coriander. Another Tana limits some of the exemptions listed at the beginning of this Mishnah. Rabbi Yehuda says, all wild figs are exempt from the laws of Demai, except for those of the Dupera. All lotus are exempt, except for the lotus of Shikmona, and all the fruits of a hybrid fig tree are exempt, except for those that split open on the tree. All of these are higher quality fruit, which according to Rabbi Yehuda, are usually grown in privately owned orchards. Thus, unlike their related species, such produce cannot be assumed to have come from the wild.